So, welcome everyone to this live YouTube broadcast. You'll have to forgive us, we've been trying to get some of the technology together, but I think we got it. If you don't mind, if just one or two of you could just post a question, just make sure you can let me know that you're seeing me, that you're hearing me, and then we'll be good to go. Thank you very much to Chrysler for his comment on giving up some of my Thanksgiving holiday. Well, you know what? I love teaching, and I love sharing my information with you guys. I've gotten a lot of great feedback over the past couple of days with all of the live training we've been doing. We're going to be doing more free live training. Okay, we'll be doing at least one of these a month. That's our plan, is to do one a month. I'm not sure if we're going to do Hangout on Air, if we're going to do YouTube, or what it is we're going to do. We might actually switch it up. Maybe do a GoToMeeting, do a Hangout. We'll see. If you're interested in continuing this and really diving more into the live training, the Piano with Willie Live, we're running a special right now, 50% off, so you can sign up and lock in at only $19.95 a month. It's a really great rate, and you get 2 live training sessions per month, and as more people sign on, we're going to even be adding on more. So you can lock in at that rate and ultimately maybe get 3 or 4 live training sessions per month. So it's a real good deal. Today, let's not forget, we're going to be doing a live drawing for our next free 30-minute Skype lesson winner. We've already had 2 winners, Anon and I'm now Anna, I think it was, won. So congratulations, you guys, for the free 30-minute Skype lesson. I'm looking forward to working with you one-on-one. It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so, okay, yes, you are on in Houston. Greetings from Serbia. Beautiful. Excellent. Awesome. Isn't technology great? We can connect, in Serbia to East Greenwich, Rhode Island. I love it. All right, so today what we're going to be focusing on is we're going to be focusing on the more advanced training. I can talk about chords, but what I'd like to do is, since this is more of a free form, it's a little bit unlike Piano with Willie Live, because with Piano with Willie Live, we're going to have more of a structure. So we're going to have kind of stuff that we build upon, more like a curriculum, kind of like a live course. But what I'd like to do is answer your questions here today. So if you have questions, go ahead and post those questions. I'm just going to try and take them in the order that I receive them. And I'm just going to do my best to answer as many of those questions within an hour as I can. While I'm waiting for a question to come in, don't forget we have our Black Friday special, 40 to 60% off on our DVDs and our downloads. Just go to pianowithwillie.com, click on store, you'll see it. Drums with Willie. Take a look at Drums with Willie. If you know anyone, if you yourself want to learn some drums, don't forget, learning drums is a great way of supplementing what it is that you do at the piano. We're running an incredible special on that. It's $119 for the entire year. One-time payment, does not auto-renew. Same thing for homeschool piano. If you want lessons from the very bare bones basics, okay, probably not for you guys because you're more advanced, but if you know someone that's looking for very basic piano lessons, homeschool piano is great. There's quizzes in there, ear training, rhythmic stuff, reading music, improvisation, all of that following our 6-step cycle with homeschool piano. All right, so everything looks good. No questions yet. All right, perfect. Glad everything is looking great. Thanks again for all of you joining me today, because I know sometimes there's other things we'd rather do than do piano. I understand, but piano's important. We express ourselves, through our instrument. So I'm going to grab some of my coffee here. What I'm going to try doing here as well is I'm going to cut over to our diagram here of our Piano with Willie 6-step cycle. Now, hopefully you will see this. I'm going to get rid of that and go live with this one. And hopefully you're going to see, you know what, let's see. Let me try doing this. Okay. Now hopefully you should see our 6-step cycle. The six-step cycle is really important no matter what level of musicianship you're at, whether you're a beginner, an intermediate, or an advanced level player. By focusing on your foundational and your fundational and doing them at the same time, okay, you're able to get your real core foundational elements together while also doing stuff that's fun. Let me switch back to me here. Now, core foundational stuff is rhythm, right? Reading music and technique. Now, it doesn't matter what level of musician you are. Working on those three elements is always good. Let me just briefly tell you, if you're an advanced level player, what kind of stuff can you be doing? Let's talk rhythm for a second, because rhythm is huge. When you're working with, if you're an advanced level player and you're trying to do improvisation, what is improvisation? Improvisation is like picking notes that go over chords or whatnot, but so often, so much of the improvisation that we need to focus on, so much of the element of improvisation we need to focus on is rhythm, right? I've worked with many, many students over the years, and what I find is that note-wise, we're able to kind of come up with notes that sound good to our ears, but where students kind of start to not get up to that pro level yet is with their interpretation of rhythm. And it's not just the interpretation of rhythm, but it's the execution of rhythm. So let me give you a couple of exercises that you can work on and kind of a demonstration of what I mean. So if I have, let's just say G minor 7 chord here, right? Okay, and I'm just going to be, I'm just going to kind of like, I'm just using basically my G Dorian scale, and I kind of bring in that major 7th as well. See, I can get those nice turns and enclosure. Right now, if my rhythm is kind of like, my rhythm is kind of like, it's kind of bouncy, and it's also, it feels really, once again, downward moving. I talked about this actually this morning in our live training at 10 a.m., like kind of downward versus horizontal movement. So when you're improvising, we want to be thinking horizontal movement. And what I mean by that is rather than feeling really heavy like our notes are sinking into the piano, we're more buoyant with what it is that we're playing. So yeah, it's like much looser, much more buoyant, much more lyrical, right? So that's what it is that we're looking for. Now, one way that we could work on this is take any scale. I mean, just again, I'm going to take that G Dorian scale, and maybe I might put in my harmonic minor or my natural minor. I could kind of mess around with those three minor scales. Okay, I can even put in my chromatic scale if I want. Right? But a cool exercise is to work on this in just steady eighth notes. Now let me actually put on a little metronome here. Okay, so now if I quickly take a look at this, let me just see here. Style, volume, style. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the metronome, if I can quickly here, so that it does not accent the first beat. If I can get that quickly. And there we go. I think that'll do. Ah, huzzah. Beautiful. Alright. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my tempo and I'm going to put it more down to like, I'm going to put it to like 60. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be thinking that the metronome here is 2 and 4. So that's 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that's the first thing, is try practicing with that metronome on 2 and 4. I want to remind you, there is no setting on your metronome for 2 and 4. This is a concept. So you're conceptualizing that these beats here, these clicks, are 2 and 4. Alright? So when you put it on, it's going to go click, click. So what you're going to do is say 2, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. See how there's no click on 1? See how I emphasize that with my voice? Just so I really get the feel for that 1, that downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit a chord on beat 1. Right? And then in the right hand, just work steady eighth notes as much as you can. So now what I'm doing is I'm really just trying to play steady eighth notes as much as I can. Now, every now and again I'll put in a chord and a little rest or whatnot, okay? But for the most part I'm keeping these steady eighth notes. And what I'm looking for is just to try and get lyrical with my playing. I'm staying on one chord, and I could stay on one scale, but obviously here I was kind of moving to some other scales. You know, like I said, I would choose one of the 3 minor scales or maybe do a chromatic scale. But it's up to you. You could stay just with one scale. You could also just start to bring in some other rhythms, like say do eighth notes and then also do triplets as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you notice the left hand, I just kind of comp chords whenever I'm feeling it. There's no specific time that I have to comp those chords. But what you might also notice is that there are some accents going on with my hand, all right, with my fingers, okay? And that's another piece that a lot of more advanced students, they kind of miss. They'll get the nose, they'll get the rhythm, but then they're not getting those accents. And the accents are kind of like, you know, when you're speaking and, you know, every now and again you get a little bit loud, but then you get a little softer, and, you know, there's dynamics. There's dynamics to what it is you're saying. Obviously, I'm being kind of silly right now, and I'm like being a little overly dramatic. But those dynamics, just like in human speech patterns, are important here at the instrument as well. So what we could do is we could try accenting specific notes. Now, to practice this, one good way of doing this is just try accenting a specific beat. So like say you accent beat 2 and 4. You could start just with a 5-finger scale. So you hear how that middle finger keeps getting accented? If I did the whole scale, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. See, I could do upbeats as well. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. You could do all the upbeats. Obviously the downbeats, 1 and 2. Now right there, you hear what just happened there? This is really interesting. Hopefully you guys will be able to see the board. The YouTube video is a little bit further away than I would want it to, so I'll just try writing bigger. Okay? So you have your rhythm. Okay? So you have your rhythm, but then you have your accents. And notice that you end up getting 2 different kinds of lines. If I just did my rhythm, which is my eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, right? Not many accents in there, but now listen to what happens when I accent the line. See how I can like throw in these accents every now and again? That is all control with your fingers. That's all like getting a little bit faster of a pull with your finger. Not a real downward, no, don't think down. More of a faster pull with the finger. Like, rather than like that, just kind of like grabbing faster. So one thing you could do is just try going through your scale and doing your accents. Try picking a specific rhythm to accent, maybe beat 2, beat 4, do all the upbeats, do 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, you know, so have some fun doing these different accents. Then you could try bring it. Now, when you do the accents in more of a practice routine, that's great. So do that. You could do 2 hands if you want. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you know, like whatever you want to do, whatever accents you want to do. But then when you do the exercise of just playing the chord and doing your line over here, you don't have to get too, you know, strict or like, okay, I'm going to do these accents. Allow yourself at that point, just say, hey, look, do just eighth notes. Now see what you come up with. This is kind of your chance to implement while also working within an exercise kind of realm. So you're still working within that, you know, parameters of eighth notes, but now you can throw in whatever accents you want, all right? Whatever accents feel comfortable, okay? So you want to be careful, basically what I'm saying, you want to be careful that you don't get too structured with your practicing in which you lock everything down so much that there's no room for any type of creativity or no room for any mistakes, all right? Allow yourself some room to breathe. All right, let me take a look at some questions here and we'll see what we got. Jared Park had the first question further up. All right, great. Willie, thanks for the free session. When you are playing in a live setting, to what degree are you thinking in terms of theory on the fly versus relying on muscle memory in your playing? It's easier for me to get bogged down by the theory. Great question. Fantastic question. Typically what you'll hear a teacher say is you'll hear a teacher say to you, you know, you work into practice, you know, you shed at home, and then when you're on a live gig, you know, you just play. You basically forget everything you've learned. Yeah, you've probably heard stuff like that. You know, when you're playing live, you just forget what you've learned, you know, and you just go by memory. I could tell you in reality, that's not the way it goes. I'm going to tell you in reality what happens in my brain. In my brain, and I'm not going to hold anything back, okay? In my brain, when I'm playing in a live situation, I am thinking about, okay, where am I? Like, where am I in the form? Like, what's happening? What song, you know, am I doing? What's the next chord change? If I'm trying to remember the chords or whatnot, how do I want to approach, you know, this section? Do I want to like bring it up a little bit or take it down? What are the other musicians thinking? Am I playing? I tell you, I'm not holding anything back. I'm not going to lie to you. Right? This stuff goes through my mind. You know, what does the audience think about what I'm doing? Do I look silly doing what I'm doing? How's my rhythm? You know, a lot of, you know, the self-doubt stuff. I mean, like, if we're going to talk about this, let's be realistic. I believe that we all have these emotions and these feelings and these questions, especially when we're playing live. And it's my job to start to get rid of those. Okay? Not in you, okay? Because I'm going to do my best to help you get rid of those. But you know what? I have to work on getting rid of them in my own playing. And I've been relatively successful at doing that. It is very difficult, though. So in my mind, to answer your question, I'm thinking theory now and again. I'm thinking, you know, what's going on. I'm thinking, you know, what are other musicians thinking about me. I'm criticizing my own playing. You know, I'm thinking about like, oh, you should know this, and you know, it's like, and then I have to basically start to get more zen. I have to like just breathe, and I have to just not worry about that, and I'm able to kind of start to settle down into my playing. And then you get to that point of just pure, just connection. And it is the most wonderful thing, I can tell you. This is when I close my eyes, and there have been times, and I am so grateful for this. I hope that you're getting this in, you know, my emotion of this. I am so grateful that I can have these moments at the instrument in which I just lose myself. I mean, I'm playing, and sometimes I'll look at my hands, and it's almost like I'm looking at somebody else's hands playing it. Right? It is really like out-of-body experience. Those are the moments that I'm always chasing. I'm always looking for those moments. And they happen quite often. It's great. And it might be fleeting. It might literally be 30 seconds that I have this like, oh man, it just like felt great. That line was great. And it just, you know, I wasn't thinking about what I was playing. I wasn't thinking about, you know, where the other musicians were or what was going on. And we were all just shoom. locking in together, right? And that's a wonderful thing. And you can get that playing solo as well, all right? But if you have these thoughts going on in your brain, don't worry about them. I've been trying to get into meditation more, right? So let me tell you a little bit that I've learned of meditation, because I am by no means an expert, okay? I try to do a little bit of meditation every day if I can. And you know, sometimes I'm good at it, sometimes I'm bad at it. And what I try to do is even just a couple of minutes. And when you meditate, when I meditate, let me talk about myself. When I meditate, I'll have thoughts coming through my brain, you know? I mean, I'm working with all of you. I have a family, I have a business, you know, playing career. I mean, there's a lot of thoughts that I have going on in my brain, all right? So, you know, these thoughts will come through, and I try to allow them to come through and not attach anything to them. So the thought comes in, okay, I just recognize I have that thought coming in, and I just let it go. I don't judge it. I don't judge myself for having a thought. I don't think, oh man, you're such a bad meditator. You know, why can't you just focus? I try and focus just on the stillness. I try and be grateful for the moment that I have right then. Okay, like this is the moment that I have. I'm here right now. I'm breathing. I feel my body. All of that stuff. Now, some of that, for some of us, it's kind of like, phew, yeah, we're all right, buddy. You know, I'm not going to do meditation or anything. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to do that. But in playing any instrument, it is about being present, okay? Because I can tell you from experience that if you're over there, if you're like, you know, going, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'll be there next week, bye-bye, you know, like, you know, yucky, 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 you know, then it's going to be difficult for you to really take your playing to that next level. And not only that, but it's going to be difficult for you to really change the world when you're playing. It's going to be difficult for you to really fully express yourself through your instrument and affect change and affect somebody else's day, you know, affect how they feel, you know, bring that art and beauty to the world, right? So, so I do have those thoughts that come through my brain, but what I try to do is I try to just let them come in and then go out, right? So if you have those thoughts and, you know, you're getting bogged down, just try to focus on what's at hand, you know? Personally, I say close your eyes. And as much as you can, try practicing in the dark. Okay? It might sound weird, but if you can practice in the dark, where you don't have to like keep your eyes shut, you can kind of have your eyes open, but it's like really dim lighting. You know, it's you really can't see the keys all that well. Start to feel the keyboard more. You know, you should be able to sit down and play. You should be able to play without having to look at your hands. Now I know some people have said, oh, I can't do that. You absolutely can do it, all right? I can guarantee that anybody can learn to play without looking at their hands. How do I know that? Well, how would a blind person play? You know, I'm not trying to be rude or crude, but honestly, anyone can learn to play the instrument without looking at your hands, right? What you have to do though is you got to practice it. It's like anything else. You got to practice it. And one of the best ways of practicing that is to work playing in the dark. I'll tell you a real quick personal story. I used to go to a library where they would have a small room with a Chickering baby grand piano, and the room was literally just big enough to get in and then sit down at this baby grand piano. It was awesome. But you could shut the door and it was completely pitch black. Like you could shut the lights off and there wasn't any leakage of light. I mean, it was dark. And I would play in there for hours and just like practice in the dark. And I don't have to worry about closing my eyes. I can have my eyes open or whatnot, and I couldn't see anything. So it's a great way of really getting that kinesthetic feel at the instrument. All right, so let's see here. Let me see if I can. It's hard to find these questions. All right, okay. Okay, it looks like Ariel. Title, I'm sorry if I'm saying that name improperly, but